Hey, this week I had one of my in-person students pick up 38 yards off the tee, and if you follow and implement what I'm going to cover in today's video, I'm confident that you're going to pick up a chunk of distance too. So I've been working with this gentleman for about 6 months now, off and on, and one of his big goals is to ramp up his swing speed so he can hit the ball farther. Well, here's the before video that you're watching. Let's take a look at this. You can see, although he has used the ripstick system to pick up 12 to 14 miles per hour over his original swing when he started, he's having a hard time translating it to his drives. Looking at this swing again, we can describe it kind of as a very aggressively wide stance, coupled with very strong, rigid arms, not a lot of wrist cock at the top, pulling the club down. The hips and the knees and the ankles and the torso are kind of quiet, while the arms and the grip looks very strong and tense, like he's pulling the club down into the ball. So he's not quite getting the speed that he wants to. The ball flight is not very good, and so his good drive is only about 200 yards right now. But coming up in a couple minutes, I'm going to reveal the new and improved swing that helped him get all the way out to 238 yards off the tee and do it more than once. All right, so let's look with a little bit more scrutiny back at that before video again. You can see that he's got really wide stance here, and there's not a lot of motion coming from the legs or the knees or the ankles, and this is kind of built in with this aggressively wide stance. Of course, they all want you, oh, it's a power stance, though gotta stand wide if you really want to hit the ball far, but I believe that there is a break point. It is my firm belief that there is a maximum potential that everybody has in the width of their stance. This would be less than your maximum potential for power with a driver. This is approaching it. For me, this is my maximum here, and every inch I start to go past this width, which is about heels underneath the hips or just outside of the hips, every inch I start to go outside this, my potential for maximum speed, in my strong opinion, will start to decrease and decrease and decrease. Now, if I use this chair kind of to show you like it's a grid that you can watch the motion emerge, I'm going to put my right hip kind of on the right post, which you can see leaves me about 6 inches or maybe one hand's width from this left-hand post, which you can also call the front line. Now, I'm going to drop this foot back wide as you can see he is in the before. And while watch what happens, I'm going to try to now reach this front line with my hip, and that's as far as I can go. So I just cannot get there. In fact, the harder I try, the more it feels like I start to wrench my lower back. Feel some weird twisting going on down here at the base of my back, and it doesn't feel good, and I can't get there anyways. The wider I go, I tend to get stuck in the middle. So I'm like right here, I can't move my hips out of the center. So in this case, I really can't stimulate a lot of rotation either. It becomes harder to rotate. And this is a problem because the laws of physics are, say, action-reaction. This is a reason why a lot of you out there look like you fall backwards, but what's more likely happening is you're not reverse pivoting. You're getting driven back. Remember, you're trying to swat the club. The club is trying to go forward and around. You've got to have forward energy, targetwards, to negate that. You've got to have positive rotation towards the target. Otherwise, see, the act of snapping the club around you counterclockwise would otherwise cause you to reverse rotate and get thrown backwards. So the faster that we can drive weight or mass targetwards, and the faster we can rotate, the more potential we have to snap the club fast, because then we can stay balanced and not get thrown backwards. So if you're wide and you can't get these actions towards the target or around as quickly, you're going to look relatively quiet with the turn of your torso, and the legs and the knees and the ankles look kind of flat-footed, kind of strong and unathletic, more brute force. And that's what he looks like, just like this. And he's trying to achieve a high speed from that wide stance without being able to shift and turn very well. So the first thing we worked on is the width of the stance, getting no wider than that break point, which is right about here. Then what we did is we worked on what I'd call the opening move. So similar to chess, there's a kind of a universal opening move in chess, D2 to D4. That's just moving the pawn out 2 spaces. There's an equivalent to that in the pro golf swing too. In a professional golf swing, the very typical opening move is going to be, so first of all, if you want to be a longer hitter, you're going to unweight this left heel to the point of getting it airborne off the ground, even if it's just a little bit. And I want you to load up that weight onto the right instep like this. Forget all this other stuff about staying centered or stack and tilt. You're just never going to get it out there nearly as far as you will if you're loading up into the right foot with the left foot getting off the ground like this. So here's the opening move once you're here. And this is what we worked on using the wall behind us, setting up a grid to kind of feel and measure how far we're going to go. First thing I'm going to do here is step down on the heel and return the left butt cheek back to the wall, just like that. Now see what happens, my right knee, which we also worked on straightening a bit more, you can get that belt line raising up or swinging in an arc like this, getting tall. You're going to step down and return that cheek. Now you're starting to get heavy. And this is kind of the way you'd start to make a scale, an analog scale, really get spin around and get heavy. Step down, return. Both knees are bent at this point. Now, that's your opening move. Keep going. Slide to the front post now, which is very easy to do now that the feet are a good operating distance apart. And rotate. That pivot will spur or encourage rotation. Look where I'm at now. My belly button, if the camera is 12 o'clock and my target is 9 o'clock, my belly button is all the way around to 10 o'clock already, very effortlessly. So I have rotated a lot more of you. If you're struggling with the rotation of your trunk and you tend to stall out, look up a little bit lower than your torso and trunk. Look down more at your hips, knees, and ankles and their actions, and start working on this opening move a bit more. Step down, return, slide, rotate, just like that. This is going to put you in a much better position to strike for speed and distance. Look at this left foot. Zoom in on a little bit. Here I go, stepping over. We worked on a little bit of this too. Notice how I've got the weight on the outside, enough to make the shoe start to roll to the outside. The toe is a little bit off the ground as well. So my weight is now on the outside of my heel. And that's where it is for universally for most pros that you watch on TV. Just like that. Now, one more thing you want to key on, and that's going to be the right knee. Unweight it, step down, return, shift, rotate. Now, look at my right knee. So if I were to drop this stick to the middle of my stance, like that, watch how these actions, step down, return the left butt cheek, slide, rotate. Look where that puts my right knee. My right knee crosses the finish line. In fact, it gets so far forward, it's bending more than most people at home, most people that I coach. You've got to flex this thigh through, and that brings the knee forward almost up to the front line, adjacent or side by side with the front knee. That's really going to allow you to rotate through and get that club whipping through at high speed. All right, so we spent about 45 minutes of the lesson just working on those moves without even hitting a golf ball. We're just using an alignment stick, using a wall, learning body motions, being careful and correct first, as slow as we have to go. That's how you should practice it at home, rather than going out and trying to whack golf balls as hard as you can, trying to do something new. It's just not the way it's going to work very well, but instead, practice this without a ball, even without a club. You don't even need a stick, but practice the motions of step down, return, slide, rotate, knee driving through, whip it out in front, just like that, speed out in front. Let's reveal the after swing. You can see quite a different motion, so much more efficient looking, balanced, powerful, athletic, you could say. The feet have been narrowed up, to that break point, no wider than break point. You can see now that there is a lateral shift out in front of the strike or the swoosh to the front post. Looks like he's standing in balance on his left leg at the moment of impact, and he starts whipping the club through. He got 2 or 3 miles an hour from his top speed, but he used what he described as half the effort to get there. The distance when we started to hit the ball started to be amazing. So we spent the last 15 minutes hitting drives, first slow and easy with this new motion. Then as he got the hang of it, he started to go a little faster and faster. Typical drive was 210 yards with the old style. You can see that looks strong, brute force, effortful, stiff, armsy, legs quiet, all those descriptions. 200 yards was generally what the best that could produce. New method, all of a sudden he goes 210, swinging halfway. Then he goes 220. Then he spends a few minutes hovering 229, then 231. I keep reading them off to him. His eyes are starting to light up. This is getting exciting now. And then finally I say, we're playing with house money. Why don't you let one go? And he gets that thing out there 238. So from a typical longish drive being 200 to getting out to 238 and continuously peppering shots in the fairway over 230 yards every single time after that. He was very excited to pick up some new distance, but not feeling like he had to swing all out to do it. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I hope you'll practice implementing these moves at home before you take them to the range. Hit the like button if you got some value out of this video. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm Steve. Visit my website, hititlonger.com, where you're going to find a few different ways that you can get personalized coaching at home, where many of the golfers that I'm working with all around the world are reaching their new highs for distance and reaching their new lows for handicap. So hey, I hope I see you in the next video, but if I don't, I hope it's because you're out there on the golf course and you're hitting it longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.